Just over 2 months after taking action on Paytm Payments Bank, the Reserve Bank of India has brought Kotak Mahindra Bank under its radar. RBI has imposed curbs on Kotak Mahindra Bank, asking the private sector bank to not onboard any new customers via online means and also not issue any fresh credit cards. And according to the regulator, Kotak Mahindra Bank failed to plug the gaps in its IT systems, information technology systems. RBI pointed out that outages in the core banking system of Kotak Mahindra Bank over the past 2 years, and in response, Kotak Mahindra Bank has said that it has taken measures to adopt new technologies and is working with the RBI to resolve the pending issues in a swift manner. Karthik, not great news, and in the sense, it is a continuation of an overall, effort from RBI to ensure that customers are safe, irrespective of whether it's Paytm Payments Bank or Kotak Mahindra Bank.
Absolutely, and I think the issue was very different in the case of Paytm Payments Bank, where the prime challenge which Paytm Payments Bank was faced with was lack of KYC and not enough checks and balances to ensure that correct KYC was done. So that was in the case of Paytm Payments Bank. We've seen another banking crisis prior to this, which was in the form of Bank of Baroda, where there was, and not just alleged anymore, but there was factual, mismanagement when it came to employees really using fake phone numbers linked to real bank accounts and opening new online banking channels. And that also caught the RBI's ire. But I think this particular case is a little more closely linked to the kind of outages that we had seen with HDFC Bank about 2 years back. And if you remember, even back then, Krishna, RBI had been, very, very vocal in its concerns about frequent outages and the need for HDFC Bank to actually upgrade its IT infrastructure, which it did. And it took about, 4 to 5 months for HDFC Bank to quell these concerns around IT outages and around net banking not working and all these concerns around IT software and hardware. But at the same time, it did upgrade its system, and it sort of, obviously went on to become, the largest private sector bank in India. This is almost exactly the same challenge which RBI is now seeing Kotak Mahindra deal with. So Kotak Mahindra Bank is also, as per the RBI's own audit, RBI's own understanding of the IT systems put in place, is not robust enough to deal with the delinquencies when it comes to and the deficiencies when it comes to all sorts of measures of protecting consumer interest by reducing the outages. So no onboarding of fresh customers using online channels, which means using net banking, using online banking. Kotak Mahindra Bank right now is not permitted to take any fresh customers, get them on board. And in addition to that, it is not in a position to issue fresh credit cards until it has upgraded its IT system, employed with the RBI's permission an external auditor to give a final certification of the upgraded IT infrastructure, and only then will it be permitted to resume its online banking platforms.
Now that we have an established player like Kotak Mahindra Bank coming under the radar, it also means that all other banks, all other private sector lenders specifically speaking, should be on the lookout for more such action from RBI if their KYC norms, or regulations are not followed correctly, if their IT systems are not upgraded correctly, or basically they're not, adhering to the guidelines of running an efficient bank that has been put out by the RBI.
Absolutely. I think the antennae are up for all private sector as well as public sector banks right now. And the kind of scrutiny which RBI is now employing on these banks, I think it has reached a point where at one point even we were skeptical of RBI's overaction, overreach, and we were saying that is the RBI really doing a lot more than what is expected of the central bank? But it seems that the RBI has made a very clear message which has been put out there for public consumption in the country, that its job is not to only tinker around with rates. RBI's job is not to only try and manage monetary policy tools to manage inflation. But as a central bank, it takes complete responsibility for every bank which has a license and legally operates in the country, and thereby ensuring one way or another that banks are living up to the standards of India's banking reforms, which have been the talk of town across the world, including the likes of Jamie Dimon that we just spoke about in the previous story. So, India's banking reforms is a real story, and any lapses, whether it is by way of KYC compliance, whether it is by way of IT deficiencies, or any way through through which the user may end up losing money or losing trust in a financial institution is something that the Reserve Bank is going to come down heavily on.
Right, and that is the responsibility of the Reserve Bank of India. At the end of the day, it is for a robust economy, for people to be safe. It is important that they have faith in the banking system, because once the people's faith in the banking system goes away, then it leads to a domino effect which can literally collapse an economy, isn't it?
Absolutely, and more importantly, citizens entrust banks as very, very safe instruments to park their hard-earned money. So any sort of doubt that comes on the efficacy or the efficiency of the bank, or any doubt that arises that my money in the bank may be unsafe because not enough risk management practices are put in place, and there could be some loopholes in the IT infrastructure employed by the bank that somebody could illegally get access to my money, that is obviously an area of concern which the RBI wants to quell.